My brothers and sisters, may the Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. While some people were speaking about how the temple was adorned with costly stones and votive offerings, Jesus said, "All that you see here, the days will come when there will not be left a stone upon another stone that will not be thrown down." Then they asked him, "Teacher, when will this happen? And what sign will there be when all these things are about to happen?" He answered, "See that you not be deceived, for many will come in my name, saying, 'I am he,' and the time has come. Do not follow them. When you hear of wars and insurrections, do not be terrified, for such things must happen first. But it will not immediately be the end." And then he said to them, "Nation will rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. There will be powerful earthquakes, famines, and plagues from place to place. And awesome sights and mighty signs will come from the sky." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Do you notice that as we get older, time seems to go faster and faster? It seems as if the years just kind of fly by. And here we are already at the end of a church year again. This coming Sunday is the first Sunday of Advent, the beginning of a new church year. And so we find traditionally in this latter part of the church year that the readings focused, as we've been seeing the last week or so, on end times from different perspectives. It's about the only time we ever really hear from the book of Revelation, which is probably one of the most difficult books of the scriptures to interpret. But it's meant to be sort of a, not really a warning, but in a sense a comfort for those who are filled with hope. It doesn't sound like it sometimes when we listen to part of the words that are spoken, but the bottom line is that if one is following the gospel call and one is following Jesus, then there's nothing to fear, and we are hope-filled. And so it's essentially a kind of an attitude and stance towards life which suggests that we always see the glass as half full, as opposed to the glass being half empty. And sometimes we find it much easier to see the half empty part than the part that is full. We hear today in this gospel text from Luke, again, some predictions about the end times. But Luke, who already is writing at a time a little bit later than Matthew, has Jesus suggest to us that we don't know exactly the time and that it will not happen immediately, that there are all sorts of things that will take place over a period of time prior. And surely we've been seeing really since World War I, a whole score of terrible battles and fights and wars and insurrections and all sorts of plagues, etc., that have taken place over the course of history. And sometimes because those things are seen, people automatically assume that the end is near. Back in the Middle Ages, when the bubonic plague was so prevalent, people were convinced it was the end of the world. And when we got to the year 2000, people were convinced that perhaps this is the end time. We don't know the end time. We don't know our own end time. But both for ourselves individually, as we make our way back to the Lord, and the world at large has to live in an attitude of such that we're always constantly attempting to the best of our ability to follow the Lord in his course rather than our own. If we do those things, then we have nothing to fear. If we do those things, then we will be, just as the book of Revelation ultimately suggests to us, be victorious with the Son of Man.